Jake Paul is in a dire state after taking a direct punch to the face from Mike Tyson. Yes, you heard that right, just one punch, and he was out cold. Now you might be thinking, wasn't their fight scheduled for July 20th? Did Jake get his lesson delivered early? Let me break it down for you. During a press conference in Dallas, Jake couldn't resist running his mouth, telling Tyson, "I'll bury you next to your daughter." Yes, he actually said that. Jake assumed he could walk away and enjoy a quiet dinner with his family after such a low blow. Absolutely laughable. Let's be real. The moment Jake decided to cross the line with Tyson, his fate was sealed in gold. Now, bedridden from just one punch, Jake's confidence and ego have hit rock bottom. Before we dive into just how severe Jake's condition is, let's rewind to what pushed Tyson to break the rules and silence Jake so brutally. The heated press conference at Madison Square Garden on May 20th, 2024, is one for the boxing history books. It was meant to promote the highly anticipated match between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, set for July 20th, 2024. But things quickly spiraled out of control. From the very beginning, it was clear this wasn't going to be the usual trash-talking showdown. Jake Paul, ever the instigator, decided to take things up several notches. The atmosphere was electric, and Jake's words were crafted to hit where it hurt most. He kicked things off with a bold promise.
Promise to the people is on July 20th, Mike will be put to sleep, and he will feel my power, and I will go down as the man who put Tyson to sleep for the last time.
Jake's confidence and ego are in shambles. Before we dive into how serious Jake's condition is, let's rewind to what drove Tyson to retaliate with such force. The infamous press conference at Madison Square Garden on May 20th, 2024, was meant to promote the highly anticipated bout between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, scheduled for July 20th, 2024. But from the get-go, it was clear this would be no ordinary exchange of banter. Jake, ever the provocateur, took the trash talk to unprecedented levels. This wasn't just verbal sparring. It was like a mouse issuing a death threat to a lion. The room was alive with tension, but Jake wasn't done. He delivered deeply personal and offensive comments about Tyson's family and his late trainer, Cus D'Amato. He went so far as to claim, "Cus's legacy is overrated. He couldn't even protect his own. Look where you are now, Mike. Wasn't he supposed to make you invincible?" The air in the room shifted. Tyson's expression darkened as those words reopened old wounds. The atmosphere became electrified, but Jake kept pushing. He crossed the ultimate line when he mocked Tyson's late child, saying, "Even your own blood couldn't survive your shadow. What kind of father does that make you?" Then it happened. Tyson's reaction was swift and explosive. His eyes burned with fury and pain as he roared and lunged at Jake. His fist became a blur, connecting with Jake's face with a force that silenced the entire room. The sound of the punch echoed, followed by a collective gasp. Security intervened, but not before Tyson landed his devastating blow. It took several guards to hold him back as chaos erupted, with shouts, camera flashes, and attempts to restore order. When the dust settled, Jake Paul was sprawled on the floor, looking like he'd been hit by a freight train. His usual cocky demeanor was replaced by shock and agony. Blood trickled from a cut above his eye, and his face swelled rapidly. Witnesses described the scene as a flashback to Tyson's brutal knockouts from his prime. Even seasoned boxing commentator Max Kellerman was stunned. Jake, who had been making waves as a promising fighter, now lay battered and broken, a victim of his own arrogance. Evander Holyfield, Tyson's former rival and now friend, weighed in. "Mike's temper is legendary, but this was a side of him I thought we'd never see again. Jake pushed him too far, and now we're seeing the consequences." Jake's injuries were severe: multiple facial fractures, a broken nose, and a shattered cheekbone. Doctors confirmed he'd require surgery and a long recovery. His team released a statement saying, "Jake is recovering, but the extent of his injuries means he'll need time to heal. We're reassessing options for the upcoming fight." The fallout was immediate. Promoters and organizers began questioning whether the July 20th bout could still happen. Tyson, however, showed no remorse. "I crossed the line," he said plainly. "This is what happens." The boxing world was thrown into disarray. What was supposed to be an exhilarating showdown turned into a real-life brawl with significant consequences. Jake Paul had sought to provoke Tyson and succeeded, just not in the way he had hoped. The aftermath left the community in shock. Jake, now sidelined by his reckless words, turned to social media to air his frustrations and display his vulnerability, framing himself as the victim. Instead of focusing on the fight, The self-proclaimed troublemaker grabbed his camera to document his injuries for the world to see.
They had to pay them a lot of fucking money for no reason. And I'm like, it just pisses me off.
Jake Paul unleashed a fiery rant during a live stream, his voice trembling with a mix of frustration and sorrow, an unexpected departure from his confident swagger at the press conference. To stir the pot further, Jake began claiming injuries he later exaggerated. He shared videos showing himself in a cast and bandages, alleging serious harm from Tyson's actions. However, these claims fell apart quickly. In one video, Jake stated, "I dislocated my shoulder while lifting a gym boulder during sparring. It's agonizing, and the doctor said I'm unfit to fight." This improbable explanation drew widespread skepticism. Reactions were mixed. While some sympathized with Jake as a potential victim of Tyson's temper, others felt he had invited the backlash. "Jake overstepped, but no one deserves to be attacked like that," tweeted one fan, echoing the sentiments of those who thought Tyson went too far. However, many in the boxing community believed Jake had reaped what he sowed. Esteemed sports analyst Stephen A. Smith remarked, "Jake pushed the envelope and is now paying the price. Challenging a legend like Tyson has consequences." Jake's emotional public outbursts and dubious injury claims only deepened the controversy. Videos of him breaking down saying, "I didn't want things to escalate this much. I just wanted to hype the fight," spread rapidly. This vulnerable side revealed the immense pressure Jake was under as he prepared to face a boxing icon. Tyson, however, didn't hold back in dismissing Jake's claims. "You saw the cast and bandages? It's all a show," Tyson declared. The narrative shifted further when Jake was spotted bowling in Los Angeles, using the same hand he had claimed was injured. Eyewitness accounts of him partying soon after. The alleged injury fueled further doubts. Former heavyweight champion Lennox Lewis added to the scrutiny, saying, "If Jake's truly hurt, why is he out bowling? It doesn't make sense." These inconsistencies bolstered Tyson's stance and swayed public opinion in his favor. In a dramatic twist, Jake filed a $300 million lawsuit against Tyson on May 25, 2024, in the New York Supreme Court, alleging physical aggression and threats to his life. "Tyson went too far. He threatened me," Jake's legal filing read, referencing Tyson's outburst during their press conference. The legal battle has dominated headlines, with Jake's team citing medical evaluations as evidence of emotional and physical harm. Tyson's camp, however, dismissed these claims as overblown. "This is laughable. A couple of scratches in a lawsuit won't intimidate me," Tyson said in an ESPN interview on May 28, 2024. The lawsuit's implications are significant. Should Jake's claims hold up, Tyson could face substantial financial penalties and legal restrictions, jeopardizing his ability to compete in their fight scheduled for July 20, 2024. Promoters and fans alike are left uncertain about the fight's future. Public opinion remains divided. Jake's supporters argue he deserves justice for what they perceive as an unprovoked attack. "No one is above the law, not even Mike Tyson," tweeted one advocate. Conversely, many in the boxing world and Tyson's fans see the lawsuit as a ploy to evade the fight and profit from the drama. "Jake's just cashing in. He knew the risks," commented George Foreman in a Sports Illustrated interview on May 30, 2024. As legal proceedings unfold, the stakes grow higher. The resolution will not only determine the fate of the fight, but also shape the legacies of both Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. Fans and analysts eagerly await the next chapter in this high-stakes boxing saga. The atmosphere in the room shifted. Tyson's expression grew cold as those words reopened old wounds. The tension was palpable, but Jake continued to provoke. He crossed the ultimate line when he taunted Tyson about his late child, saying, "Even your own blood couldn't survive your shadow. What kind of father does that make you?" That was the breaking point. Tyson's reaction was swift and furious. His eyes burned with a mixture of rage and grief as he lunged at Jake. His fist blurred through the air, striking Jake's face with a force that immediately silenced the room. The punch echoed, followed by a collective gasp. Security rushed in, but not before Tyson landed a devastating blow. Several guards struggled to restrain him as chaos ensued, with shouts, camera flashes, and frantic attempts to restore order. When the dust settled, Jake Paul was lying on the floor, looking as though he had been hit by a freight train. His usual cocky swagger was gone, replaced by shock and agony. Blood dripped from a gash above his eye, and his face began to swell rapidly. Witnesses likened the scene to Tyson's prime knockouts. Even veteran boxing commentator Max Kellerman was left speechless. Jake, once the rising star in the boxing world, now lay battered and broken, his arrogance exposed as the catalyst for his downfall. Evander Holyfield, Tyson's former rival and current friend, offered his perspective. Mike's temper is recovering, but his injuries are extensive and he'll need time to heal. We are evaluating options for the upcoming fight. The repercussions were immediate. Promoters and event organizers began questioning whether the planned July 20th bout could still take place. Tyson, however, showed no remorse. "I crossed a line," he said simply. "This is what happens." The boxing community was left in shock. What was meant to be an exhilarating fight had turned into a real-life brawl with lasting consequences. Jake Paul had succeeded in provoking Tyson, but not in the way he had envisioned. The aftermath left everyone stunned. Sidelined by his own reckless actions, Jake took to social media to express his frustrations, portraying himself as the victim. Rather than focusing on the fight, the self-proclaimed provocateur turned to his camera, eager to document his injuries for the world to witness.